Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to our Underdog Best Ball show. We're going to be taking a look at free agency and giving you our thoughts on where the best moves happened in free agency, and we're going to do a live draft. We're going to get into it right after this. Going to be looking at UFC Seattle. We got Adesanya versus Pfeiffer, and we are coming off of 2 straight shows of calling the outcomes. What do we think the most likely outcome is here, James?
I know the odds are saying Adesanya by decision. I'm going to say first or second round knockout by Joe. That's what I think.
I'd say like second round knockout by Pfeiffer.
Referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 18 seconds of round number 2.
We could be seeing the end of Adesanya. Yeah, that's what I think. I think these odd makers are giving Israel Adesanya a little too much credit for the ranking that he's at.
Declaring the winner by TKO, Joe Body Bags Pfeiffer.
All right, guys. We've been doing some MMA videos, so I just wanted to play a recap. We've hit 3 outrights in a row this past week. My buddy James Duccio, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. We've been breaking down these main event fights, and if you're into MMA, make sure to check those out on our Heat Seeker YouTube channel so you can get an idea of who we're on for this week. We're going to put that show up probably on Thursday for these MMA fights moving forward. So just a heads up on that. Today, we're going to be looking at NFL Best Ball. We got an Underdog big board that we're going to be drafting. We're going to get into free agency and kind of give you the picks that we like the most. I'm Pumacom, Simon Edwards, and I'm joined by Spread a Stare today. We're going to be breaking that down in a second. Before we get into that, make sure to hit the like button. Get us to 50 likes so we can continue doing content throughout this off season. As you guys know, we are biggest on showdown stuff in the NFL season, but Spread and I are also big fans of best ball. We've been doing these shows for a few years now, and we're trying to get some momentum going with our Underdog shows. So make sure to hit that like button. Also subscribe to the channel. And there is a new promo code for Underdog. So if you're just a new new sign up on Underdog, you use the promo code SEEK, SEEK. I'll also leave a link in the description. They're going to give you a pretty big hookup now. It's 50% deposit match up to $1,000. And then they're going to give you a $50 in free bets with your first $5 play. And then on top of that, they give you a gimme pick on top of that. So it's a lot of good benefits to signing up for Underdog. I've never seen it as good as it is right now with that current offering. So SEEK is the promo code. That's SEEK. And the link will be in the description. Spread a Stare. What's going on, man? How's everything going with you? And how's your drafting been going so far?
So we were talking, I haven't actually been doing as much. I've been busy. I kind of been settling in some new little ventures I have. And so I'm excited to do today because I've only done a couple so far. And I think it's going to be fun to hash through it with you on a couple of these ADPs, because I think when they come out, that's when it's the most fun as we figure out our favorites in each round. It's pretty easy to say, like, I like Jahmyr Gibbs more than Ramondre Stevenson, but it's like, okay, but who is your favorite 5th round pick? These are the type of questions I'm looking forward to getting into today.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good to have a site that we launched called Sport Nuggets, where we're going to be doing all the news and updates on these players throughout the offseason. So you can track on sportnuggets.com what the latest updates are that are going to impact these ADPs. And it's kind of we're extracting news out of all these local sources. Local guys that cover their teams are going to be the best resources for knowledge on the players on their team, obscure players on the practice squad, the whole deal. We're going to find out who's doing well in the training camps and all that kind of stuff. All you got to do is go to sportnuggets.com. It's free to look at those news updates, so check those out. We also do premium content. We'll probably do some rankings for best ball to our premium subscribers. So make sure to go over and take advantage of that premium subscription at sportnuggets.com. And I put up an article recently for free over on Sport Nuggets. You check our article section. I did let's see, let me share it real quick. We did a free agency tracker. And so, I just been kind of going through and tracking all the free agency moves and what it means for, these teams and our potential to draft these players in best ball or keep an eye on them for DFS when the DFS season starts back up. I'm like spread. I haven't done a ton of drafts yet, so you guys can see us bumble through a draft on this show. It's going to be our first reactions on how this ADP is shaking out, and where we think that like the traded players might fit into their new teams, and who's going to benefit and who might suffer from these trades. So we'll get into it with these trades. Going to use the reference point of my article, so we can go and start at the top here and spread. The first big move that I have here from an offensive standpoint, we'll cover the offensive moves here. DJ Moore traded to the Bills for a second-round pick. I mean, that seems pretty expensive to me for DJ Moore. But what are your thoughts here on this trade? Who do you think benefits, and do you think it's a good deal overall?
Short term, probably yes, because I think with DJ Moore, you're not questioning the talent, but we are kind of questioning the attitude and not the ability, but we are questioning the attitude and how long he is going to remain committed. He's kind of shown that he can lower his effort level if he's not pleased with the way things are going. But this seems like the best time to buy in on a guy like that, right? We want him mad with something to prove, right? On his best behavior. Not only that, because as many stories as we've heard, how many did we not hear? How many did they successfully suppress? Which, used to be all of them, right? I mean, we have an unprecedented level of access to information these days. But the new coaching staff's probably going to have a little more leeway, where I think maybe some of the guys on the Bears could have been a little fed up with him. So I'm actually pretty high on him for fantasy this year. Long-term second-round pick, I don't know. Right. I see in the article, you mentioned that the Bills scapegoated the wrong guy and that maybe the GM should lose this. But we've seen this before. These guys have to make tough decisions. When you're on the rookie contract, you can afford to make mistakes. After you give the quarterback $50 million, you got to make everything perfect. And they haven't been, especially with their drafting. So I'm actually pretty high on DJ Moore. I wonder how much of this is Allen's propensity to just spread the ball around, though. That's another thing that's contributing to the fact that we've never seen a top wide receiver from the Bills, even though you would think, okay, it's, arguably the best quarterback in the league, inarguably a top 5 quarterback, right? I mean, we're not even having a discussion if you don't think he's in the top 5 in the league. But he's never really supported, a number 1 receiver in that regard. So, I actually like it a lot. What are you thinking about him? Are you excited about getting him in there? It seems like for fantasy purposes, it helps both teams, right? As you mentioned, for the Bears, it kind of clears way for Burden and Odunze, 2 young players that we both liked a lot when we were drafting them as rookies.
Yeah, I think Burden is my favorite beneficiary of that trade.
Well, I think Burden's also a better player, which makes it easier, right?
Which is funny because Odunze, what was he? He was like a top 10 pick like a couple years ago, and then I don't know what happened to him. I
think that's competition of the class, though, right?
Yeah,
I think that Burden was just around a bunch of other studs at wide receiver, where Odunze came in a little softer class.
Yeah. Like Burden, though, Burden looked great towards the end of last season. Like he was my captain in my showdown lineup where I won $30K. And, I was using Burden heavily towards the end of the year. Burden actually hit an underdog pick'em for us too. Spread. It was like a 70 to 1 pick'em with Luther Burden as my anytime touchdown in that in that pick'em. So, I got really good vibes off of Burden, probably like some bias there, but I think that he's going to benefit big. Colston Loveland, another guy that's going to benefit. And then, I think DJ Moore, obviously he's probably going to be the main target for Josh Allen. I think they're going to be incentivized to make sure that he hits over there. But he looked kind of washed in this last season. Like, you had a strong offensive minded coach coaching that team. There wasn't a ton of competition because Odunze wasn't really doing too much, and Burden took a little while to take off. So DJ Moore really didn't have much competition for the majority of last season, but I don't feel like he capitalized on it. And I don't know if that was a product of the attitude that Spread was mentioning earlier, or like legit, like his body's just wearing out. I don't know what exactly to think there, but he definitely goes.
For me, I guess it's the attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did like Justin Fields. Like, I'll say that.
You're sitting there, you're like, okay, I go to the Bears, I'm get to be the top guy, right? Then we add Odunze. Mm-hmm. Then we add Colston Loveland, right? It's like, where's the lineman? Where's the defense? You guys have me. Right. Like, you already have receiver I know this is how he's thinking, right?
Right.
You already have receiver taken care of. Let's address these other issues, right? And so I'll bet you that there was a little bit, and then when you have that many weapons, if you're Caleb, why would I funnel everything to one guy?
Yeah.
I have 4 awesome options,
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I'm betting on DJ Moore, and I'm actually kind of high on him. And of course, I agree with everything that you said about the Bears, but the secret's out on those guys, right? I just don't think that we're going to take them when they're available. And I think that they'll pay off their ADPs, right? Mm-hmm. Other than injury, I just don't see a way they don't get there. But I don't think that we're going to be able to get value, and I don't think they're going to fall. They'll probably continue to improve.
Yeah.
How can people not watch what we saw last year and not be excited? Not to mention Chicago's huge, like, as far as like just Bears fans in general.
Yeah.
People want to draft people off their own team, right? Like, I'm a Raiders fan. Like, I want Genty to be good. Like, that's almost like a tiebreaker for me sometimes, right? It's just like,
right.
Well, it's my favorite team, right? So that's another reason why I think DJ Moore, we have a better chance of getting a value on than any of the other players here, even though it does help the other guys.
Yeah, no, that's because a good point.
People will be hesitant on DJ Moore, where the other one, I think they're going to go up all summer. I'd be shocked if Odunze, Loveland, or Burden fall in ADP from the time the Best Ball Mania is released to the September kickoff.
Yeah, and I think with the Bills, I don't know how DJ Moore impacts the rest of the Bills. Now that they have more of an alpha there. But I think Shakir may I think if you think contrarian, like, most people are going to think that. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, I think it does help, because it's going to open things up underneath for guys like Kincaid, and if they use DJ Moore like wider, like, it'll open things up underneath for Kincaid and Shakir. So, and it'll open things up for James Cook with those running lanes too. So, like, I think that the rest of Buffalo's weapons, they had kind of a mediocre season last year, or frustrating season if you drafted them. But I do think that they'll probably benefit. They're probably all going much lower in ADP than they were last season as well. Yeah. But we'll find that out. Like, as Fred and I haven't looked at it yet, because this is our first time really drafting.
Well, and my other times, this is definitely my first time on Underdog. I've only done DraftKings shots so far this year. Yeah,
nice. So next guy we're looking at is Isaiah Likely, tight end, moves from the Ravens to the Giants in a 3-year, $40 million deal. Joins his old coach in John Harbaugh, and I thought this one was interesting, Spread, because I like Theo Johnson and how Theo Johnson had been doing. But then, like, Theo Johnson wasn't drafted by John Harbaugh, and Harbaugh brings in his guy from the Ravens in Isaiah Likely. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, and we joked about it. You joked about it in the article with the Chargers too, right? The best way to be a lucrative free agent is to sign with the Ravens, right? People love these guys. So for likely, that doesn't really change my outlook on him. I mean, I guess you could say he goes to be the number one, but I don't think the offense is going to be nearly as good. And I know Dart had some moments this year, but it was almost more like moxie and fun and scrambling than actually sitting back there throwing darts and supporting a number one fantasy target, right? So I don't necessarily upgrade likely that much. He should get a little more usage in a weaker offense. So let's keep him the same. But you're right. I mean, Johnson went from, a viable mid-range tight end to now he's like a late round flyer, right? I mean, he's still going to get some work. And in best ball, I can see him spiking into your lineup if you do a zero tight end build, right? And you just stash 3 right at the end and just hope he could spike in there. But there's before that signing, I would have liked him as one of my guys. If we did a 2 tight end build, I would have been okay. Not anymore.
Right.
So no more, but huge downgrade to Johnson to me doesn't affect likely at all.
Yeah, for me, it's an upgrade for likely. I just kind of look at the tea leaves with it. I see that they traded Wan'Dale Robinson, a guy that would have been competing for those types of targets with likely, and the new coach comes in, he brings in his guy. I think it's good for likely. Like I think that Jackson Dart might lean in on likely and Neighbors, obviously. We don't know. Neighbors had what, like a torn Achilles? Was it an Achilles injury or was it an ACL spread? Do you remember?
I don't know, but I do know that his recovery wasn't going as good as people had hoped.
Gotcha.
Now,
so, I mean,
when I had read that was over a month ago. So we'll have to get a follow-up. Now, to be fair, I don't think we're going to get a lot of realistic information out of it. I think we're only going to get puff pieces from the team.
Right.
Because there's no bidding, right? There's no negotiations going on. There's no reason for them to downgrade his spot. So I'll be curious to see how he does this year. I know that during the season, he was still needing to have assisted walking later than people expected. And that, this injury was a lot worse than the normal ones of whatever he had. So we got to keep an eye on Neighbors because that could be like a make or break, right?
Yeah.
He could be just the normal guy that we've expected from him, or just a hole in your lineup that you picked in round 2 or round 3. And now, you're looking at the opportunity cost. Like, man, I could have had Taylor or Jacobs or whoever, So that's another one we're going to have to keep an eye on. And that's where Sports Nuggets will come in handy because we know the team is going to say he's doing great. Let's see if we can get, some of these individual reporters that actually have, and especially, the good thing is it's the New York area.
Yep.
Right. It's not like out here where they're just, God, I follow David Lombardi of the Niners. The guy's got to work for the team. Yeah, never says anything negative about the team at all.
Right. Yeah. New York will be brutal, like with the, exaggerating the either the truth or trying to find, controversy in there somewhere. But yeah, I think with his injury, with the fact that they got rid of Wan'Dale Robinson and the fact that he's Harbaugh's guy, I just look at this for likely. Like I think likely, depending on where his ADP is, he might be a sneaky good pickup this year.
Yeah, you know what? Something we'll have to look into to continue this conversation. Did Dart have? I don't remember having an exceptionally high tight end usage, right? And that's one of our old tired narratives that I think has been disproven by statistically. Oh, rookies rely on their tight ends, right? We always draft the tight end with the rookie quarterback. Oh, it's a safety blanket. I don't remember him having above average tight end usage. I relied on it.
I think I remember a few occasions, like Theo Johnson definitely had a decent year last year, I felt like, and there were he flashed a lot. I felt like he was flashing a lot at some point during the season. I can't remember if it was Dart as his QB or if it was like earlier in the season, but I do remember he had some flashes. But that's a guy that we're going to want to check out what Spread's talking about and see what his relationship was with Jackson Dart. But yeah, I do like, we did see Wandale though have those few breakout games where he had some really strong games with Jackson Dart, and I just think that likely he's an athletic tight end. He's good in the passing game. I think we might see him kind of take on that similar role, or at least get some of that work that Wandale would have gotten on top of being the primary tight end already. So
all right, so you're a little higher on likely than me, so we'll keep that in mind as we get ready to draft. Yeah, now you didn't go in order, Simon. From the article.
No, I skipped. Yeah. I figured we can talk about some of those guys when we get into the draft, and we can talk about some of the major ones now, or the bigger ones.
Well, because I think Montgomery's a big one.
You think Montgomery's a big one? Okay, give me your take on that.
Here's why. Because it creates a situation where getting it right matters.
Yeah.
You see my point? Like
with the trade, was he traded or did he sign free agent? Let me check.
What's up?
Oh, hang on a second. Yeah, go ahead and give your take.
How does this affect Marks is the huge question we need to answer. Is David Montgomery going to have that role that he had with Jahmyr Gibbs 2 years ago, where you drafted him, around pick 80, and he was a steal, especially in best ball where you didn't have to worry about sit start, and you're just like 2 touchdowns. Fantastic. Like, thanks, Jahmyr, for breaking off that 60-yard run so Montgomery could run it in, right? And then when they got the lead, why are we wasting our speedster Gibbs right now? Let's give it to the bowling ball. Let's give it to the rock. Is Houston going to use him that way? Or is it going to just be the Nick Chubb deal and he's going to vulture here and there and get a little run if Marks is injured? Because if it's the first one, Marks, we have to drop him. If he's not going to get any of the goal line work, or he's not going to get any of the work ahead by 10, and he's just going to be a third down back and a beginning of the game back to help get the lead, I mean, he'll still be viable, right? But I mean, it definitely takes him out of contention. So getting that right is going to be huge. Right now, we're guessing, right? And this is why, we're going to keep going back to this. This is where the website's going to come in handy. This is where going to sportsnuggets.com is going to come in handy, because it's going to have the Houston beat writers and what we care about for those reports. Just to give you a little look ahead, is not who had 7 catches in practice. It's just who plays with who. How often is Montgomery running with the ones? Is he never? Is he always running with the 2s? Or is he getting 50% of the work? And when we get that information, right, who's playing in the slot, right? These are the type of things we're going to be looking for these beat writers on Sports Nuggets. So that's the only reason I think Montgomery is fascinating, because let's just say he does the Nick Chubb role and he's basically not even relevant for fantasy. I mean, how often did Chubb even matter? 2 weeks of the year, maybe? I'm trying to remember. I don't remember him ever, at least for DFS purposes. I mean, do you ever, even come close to the optimal? I don't remember him even being close, right?
No.
Is he going to be like that? Where there was times where Montgomery was in the optimal on the Lions, right? 2 seasons ago, because he was so cheap, because we didn't expect him to get any work, right? And then he gets 2 touchdowns and the Lions go up by 20 and they just let him run the ball out and they throw Gibbs on the bench. But, if he's irrelevant, then Woody Marks is in play, right? As a high-end running back. So, but I don't know where that's going to go, but I just think it's fascinating because I can see either one being possible.
I think it's a lot of damage for Woody Marks in general, like their confidence in him, because they traded him for, Juice Scruggs and the 4th round pick. Trading for a 4th round pick, like for a guy like David Montgomery, he's telling me that they're going to use him, and he's probably going to be their primary back. And Woody Marks down the stretch last year, he really wasn't that impressive. like I don't know if they have a lot of confidence in him. I think they might think of him as more of, like the backup type of running back. We've seen David Montgomery. He's been pretty good in the passing game on the Lions. So he's kind of a, he's a back that can kind of do it all. I think that, Montgomery is going to be, the primary back over here. I think that that's more of a negative for Woody Marks than anything, with the fact that they gave up a 4th round pick for him. Because that seems like a pretty I guess it's like a draft this year where we're not expecting a lot of high impact players, right? Spread, like what's the value of this of picks in this draft even?
When it gets to the 4th round, I don't think it varies from year to year, right?
Right.
Because when these guys go from 1st to 2nd round grades, right? They'll go, oh, I only gave out 27 1st round grades, or only gave out 36. This is great. I gave out 36 1st round grades. I think that those are a lot more precise than the difference between a 3rd and a 4th.
Gotcha. Yeah,
right. For what these guys are trying to do. So I think we already know that these draft picks are a crapshoot to begin with, but it's like, to me, and I think the GMs think the same way, it's almost like if I just give you a lottery ticket, right?
Right.
You can't lose anything.
Right.
But you could potentially get a lot, right? Max Crosby, right? Some of these running backs are 4th round running backs. What that says to me is they didn't see anyone in the later rounds. Like last year, I don't think they would have traded a 4th round pick. I think they would have got one of these guys in the later rounds, right? Who was the Denver running back? Gosh,
the rookie, RJ Harvey, or
wasn't he a 4th round pick?
I think he was a later.
Yeah, right. So there was definitely good players available last year. I don't know if there are this year.
Yeah.
Just from doing a little dynasty prep.
Yeah.
The running back class is not nearly as good this year. So that could be another reason why they just said, screw it. I don't think we're going to find the late round gem this year. Plus, a couple of the guys that I watched in college this season that I thought were going to come out went back. And I think that NIL's got something to do with it. I know it's college basketball, but I was just listening. They're talking about Michigan. They already have contract offers for these kids in college, right? So they're looking, they go, oh, I could go to the draft, but I got guaranteed $8 million. And I just go to the draft next year, right? Because that's about what the top college players are making in basketball.
Right.
I imagine football is probably the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that about what Arch gets?
Oh, yeah. Well, was he even good? I know he started out the season very slow. Did he end up improving as the season went on?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'll put it this way. If he were coming out this year, I still think there would be arguments for him to go over Mendoza, even though there's nothing on the tape that supports that.
But we're expecting him next year, right? Is it next year or 2028?
Well, he could do either.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Let's just say he thinks he's going to be the number 1 pick, and maybe Cleveland hasn't, and he doesn't want to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Before it's like sit at home with nothing. Right. Now it'd be like, fine, I'll take $8 million to wait a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It's not, it's not.
Yeah, exactly. I would definitely do that. I would consider doing that even without the $8 million if it was the Browns that was trying to draft me.
Yeah, right.
That's terrible.
Some of these franchises so poor. So I hope the Raiders can get out of that, right? Let's hope this new regime.
Yeah. I like the freaking Raiders this year, man. I like everything's falling in place for them. Especially with the Max Crosby.
I'm actually happy he came back. I know long term it would have been better because the 2 1st round picks, right? You get 10 good seasons of good production potentially.
Think of his motivation level right now.
Well, yeah, and then of the thing is of these veterans, he's the one you want. Anyone to overpay, I want the guy that never takes a play off.
Right.
The worst thing you want is your highest paid player to be Randy Moss. And I'm going back to when he was on the Raiders because he didn't do this to any other team.
Right.
He's still bitter about it, by the way.
Tennessee, maybe.
But, he's your top. Oh, maybe he did out there too.
Yeah.
I probably stopped watching at that point, but he wasn't trying, And it's like when your top player is not trying, that's terrible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Terrible. Also, I will say with Montgomery too, he was pretty vocal on social media and stuff about being disgruntled with the way he was being used on the Lions. So I don't think a team would really trade for him unless they planned on using him significantly. You know what I mean? Like he
And I
wants
think
to
his
be,
tape is better than Mark's.
yeah,
I mean, you just watch. He's a better running back.
right. So
Marks can't. They seem to be almost just as fast, and Marks cannot run through contact nearly as well. And I think Montgomery reads the field better too at this point of their careers. Now, maybe Marks will develop that. It's weird. It felt like when I was younger, the running backs came in the league and they either had it or they didn't.
Yeah.
And now it seems like more than ever, there's guys that look like they can't find the hole their first year, and I write them off, and then they come back. Like Trey Benson, right? Remember last year, I'm just like, guy's a bum. What, like he's slow and he can't hit the hole. Like, what does he do? And then it's like, he's still slow, in my opinion, for an NFL running back, but it's like, wow, like he learned, like he's going exactly where he should. So now, it's a 4 or 5 yard gain just off the blocking and reading the play correctly.
Right. All right, spread. I'm going to skip ahead to Malik Willis. He went to the Dolphins in a 3-year, $67.5 million deal. Give me your thoughts on this landing spot for Willis and the Dolphins just unloading on their offensive weapons here.
Yeah. Here's my theory, right? And I could be wrong. But right now, if you force me to take a stand, I say he's a product of Matt LaFleur. And I will be shocked if they are able to get the same level of production out of him. And we've also seen this before. It's easy to look good in a 2 or 3 game stretch. Right? I mean, how many backups came in and looked awesome, right? I mean,
Matt Flynn.
we've seen Flacco do it, right? We've seen Dalton do it, right? Oh, Dalton's going to take over the Panthers, and then 3 weeks later, he's back to his normal self. Right now, I'm not willing to bet on Malik Willis. I think that this was a fleece by his agent. I think he got, hey, maybe he ends up being good, but we'll see. I mean, that system is impeccable, and I know LaFleur catches stuff for play calling, but when you're doing stuff like putting a backup in, well, now all of a sudden that conservative game plan is great. And the fact that you run all those run plays in practice, even with Jordan Love starting, right? And you run the ball so much, even with Jordan Love starting, well, now it makes the backup easier, right? Because first of all, we're not overhauling our game plan, right? It's not like, oh, the backup's in, we're going to lower our pass output volume by 15%, right? No, we were already running more than we were throwing to begin with. So I think a lot of that of his success had to do with organizations, right? And I think he looked bad in Tennessee because they were a bad organization. And I think he looked good in Green Bay because they're a good organization. I think Miami's a bad organization. So I'm not high on him at all. I'll probably go into him very low owned, and that'll probably just be a stand I take unless, right, we jump on sportsnuggets.com, right, and all summer. But we got to be careful with those reports on the quarterbacks, right? Because those are, to me, the most deceptive ones. We already know he's going to run with the ones, so we can't get any depth chart information from him. But let's see how it looks. I mean, I could be swayed because I did love him for DFS purposes when he did play. And I did bet him those weeks. Now, did I take the money line? I don't think so, but I was definitely grabbing all those points he was getting and cashing there. So I'm not high on Malik Willis. And I see in the article you mentioned the switch, the A-chain taking a dive in fantasy. Do you want to expand on that a little bit?
Well, that kind of changed when Waddle got traded. I got to update that article because at first I was thinking it would be a negative for Achane because I didn't see like Neighbors. Willis passing to him a lot. As a scrambling quarterback. I figured it might take a ding to his passing role, but like now, Achane's like the only guy to pass to on the team pretty much. So, I think the Waddle trade flips it back where Achane is probably, going to be the most impactful player on the Dolphins in general. I kind of tend to agree with Spread on, you know, the outlook for Willis. I was a little more high on him, like when we had, you know, Waddle on the team, and maybe he'd have a couple, you know, offensive weapons to throw to. You know, I was high on Willis. He was another guy, another one of the big wins that I had came with Malik Willis as the quarterback on a 2-game slate. And like Willis looked phenomenal in that 2-game stretch. And that's what made me high on him for that particular slate. And, you know, I think that's like Spread said, that's a product more of good coaching over on the Packers. Now the Packers defensive coordinator is now the head coach of Miami. And I don't like defensive minded coaches when they take over these teams for the offensive weapons, unless it's like a running back and you know, like just kind of the old school, you know, grind out the clock type of mentality. But, you know, like he saw a lot of Malik Willis, obviously, in those practices when Malik Willis was playing up against his defense. So he had enough respect for him to make him that quarterback. But at the same time, if you know, they're trading all the weapons and everything, you know, maybe they're looking at him more as a stopgap. Willis a lot of buzz was on him in the year he was drafted and potentially going as a top 10 pick. So I you know, think we should note that. But he ended up going in like the 2nd, 3rd round or something like that, right? Spread. He didn't go very high at all, but there was speculation. It wasn't a strong draft class, but there was speculation that he would be a top 10 pick at some point.
Yeah, there was, but he played himself out of that. I actually bet on him a lot at Liberty. And I felt that when he got a little bit of attention, right, he had a couple good games flying under the radar. And when he got a little bit of attention, he didn't play as well. I don't really think that's predictive to this season's success. I did want to talk about something in the article. I actually like Slowick. I don't think that was his fault about CJ falling off. I think CJ was reading his own press clippings.
Right.
CJ was running around with models and red carpet events, and you know. He was, you know, doing those podcasts in the nightclub, right? Doing the interviews there with the bottles and stuff. So I'll be interested. I think Slowick's a good choice. I just think overall Miami's a bad organization, and I don't think the blocking is going to be any good. Like, how are they going to fix that line? You can't fix that line that fast because. So here's my thinking, right? We got the defensive coach, right? So he's watched all these guys, you know. He probably knows, hey, hit Waddle. Just hit him. Mm-hmm. He takes plays off, right? Just hit him. He takes plays off, right? Only get 60% snap share out of this guy, right? Just hit him. He'll go to the sideline, right? It's probably why he didn't want him on his team. So you got to think one of these draft picks and compensation has got to be for a wide receiver. However, when we're looking at best ball, a rookie wide receiver is not going to help you till after week 8. You know, unless he's Justin Jefferson, which, you know, good luck. I guess he did go in the 20s, but still. Do you see my point there? I think that was I wasn't surprised Waddle got traded when I saw them bring in that hard ass coach. Right. Like, there's no way that guy wants a wide receiver that, you know, that was Tyler and I's joke, right? That every time you turn the game on, like every reception he makes, he's not in the game the next. It's impossible for him to get 2 receptions on 2 plays in a row.
Gotcha.
He goes to the sideline after every reception. So
yeah.
That's my thinking there. And if we were doing draft props, I do like the Dolphins to get a wide receiver in the first 2 rounds.
Well, what do you think of Malik Washington? He was coming on a little bit. Like,
he's a fine player, but is he going to be a guy that when he actually gets attention, is he able to do it? Right? It's easy to do it when you're number 3. Yeah. You know, you're number 2. I mean, I think he's fine. I'll be really curious to see how he stands up with more attention from opposing defensive coordinators.
Right. And that's where I kind of like, you know, flipped over onto HN, like back over to liking HN. I liked him, but like, you know, like for the, where he's going in a draft, probably going in like top 5 picks.
And he's one of my flaws because as a pure player, I think he's one of the best ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a pure running back. Like, we're not judging on their fantasy performance, like just who's one of the best running backs, regardless of stats. I love him. He's so versatile.
Yeah.
When he came in the league, I stereotyped him as a guy that couldn't break tackles and run through contact, but he's got it all.
Yeah.
Obviously his speed and his ability to change directions is his real strength. But he's not easy to take down either. I love A-Chain, so I'm really high on him. Willis is fine for his ADP because I think in best ball, especially towards the end of the year, he could spike into your lineups.
Yeah.
Number one, I think the Dolphins are going to be behind a lot. I don't care if this guy is, Brian Flores, right, or one of the best defensive minds. You can't overhaul a roster that fast. Right? I mean, do you think they're really going to be able to turn that defense around that fast? I mean, you watched them last year, and we targeted them in DFS because they couldn't stop. For a while, they couldn't stop the run. Then they kind of got it going, right? But their secondary was terrible all year. I'll be curious to see what they do.
Well, did Bradley Chubb? They got rid of Bradley Chubb, right? He was on. He was on
free agent. I don't think he's signed.
So he's gone.
But yeah, he's leaving.
And Minka Fitzpatrick is gone. Like so, like not only they're going to have to overhaul the defense, but it's going to have to be like with a bunch of completely overhaul the defense because they lost like their best defensive players. They've lost, they've gotten rid of all their offense. They're playing for. It feels like they're playing for like a tank type of season. I don't know. So maybe that's even worse for.
I don't think they even do that. I don't think they do that in the NFL.
Yeah.
I just think like, what else are your options?
Yeah.
Like even if you didn't love Malik Willis, was there a better option? They didn't overpay. $20 million a year.
No, they got to, like that's one thing that I will say. I was surprised by, how much money.
Even if they drafted a new quarterback next year, like it can have him on the roster fine, right? It's not like this huge albatross hanging over the team.
Right. There's literally no risk with Willis. And I think that's probably what they needed because they're probably paying the majority of Tua's salary. And he had like $50 million a year. So like they're going to be, kind of bogged down by that, like with hits for what, like how many years spread?
I think only 2 more seasons.
A couple years.
It's been a couple years already. They've been overpaid.
Right. So, all right. So moving on, we just talked about Waddle.
What do you break that down real quick? I'll be right back. I'm going to get another soda.
Yeah. So Waddle goes to the Broncos. We're looking at 4th round pick and Waddle for 1st, 3rd, and 4th round pick from the Broncos. I mean, if Waddle's taking off plays for the Broncos like he did, I don't think he's going to be able to pull that shit with Sean Payton over on the Broncos. But then again, if he does, I don't think Payton's going to be too intimidated to bench the guy or worse. So, I think Waddle comes into a situation where he gets a fresh start. He gets in a pretty packed wide receiver core. They got Cortland Sutton, who's obviously been the number 1 up until this point. I think Waddle kind of takes that number 1 role from Cortland Sutton. We got Pat Bryant and Troy Franklin on the team as well. I think Pat Bryant looked like he was coming on towards the end where Troy Franklin was falling off towards the end of the last season. So I think between Waddle, Sutton, and Bryant, they got a pretty good receiver core for Bo Nix next season. And, depending on which Waddle we see in Denver, if he lives up to his potential, I think he was like the 6th overall pick like a few years ago. People were very high on him, obviously, and he showed flashes his first couple seasons. Had a kind of a down year last year, but like he's obviously got the upside to make an impact, especially if he's given a competent thrower in Bo Nix. But we'll get Spread's opinion here in a second, but I do think that Waddle is going to benefit the Broncos more than hurt them, and I kind of like the offensive environment, obviously more. The problem is, he's not going to be the one and only guy in town like he would have been for the Dolphins as far as the receivers. So he's going to be, sharing a little bit more of those targets than he would have been in Miami. But what are your thoughts there, Spread?
Yeah. So I think that McDaniel's just as good an offensive coordinator as Peyton, right? So I'm not saying like, oh, he's going into a better offense, but he is going into a more pass happy offense, right? I know Peyton is old school and he does like to run the ball, but McDaniel really likes to run the ball. So that'd be interesting. Another one, going back to our A-chain conversation. I think it helps. They didn't have a lot of weapons to I really think it helps everybody. I think it helps the running backs a lot. I think you're right. I mean, Brian and Franklin, that's kind of rough, right? But I think it upgrades Sutton and, oh boy, what are we doing with that? We're talking about tough running back situations, right? What are we doing there? But no, I think it upgrades both. I think it's an upgrade for Sutton and probably for Waddle too. I think he'll probably be used smarter. I think he'll be fine in his ADP.
Yeah, Sutton's one of those guys, one of those wide receivers who, if he's the one and only guy, he'll do okay. But I do think that Spread's right. I think he needs somebody to take some of that load off for him to really kind of thrive, and we'll be able to see that.
Yeah.
Let's go on to, let's see. Let's go to Kenneth Walker, moves to the Chiefs in a 3-year, $45 million deal. One of my favorite moves in the offseason, but what do you think here, Spread?
Kind of like Montgomery, right? Walker had definitely been unhappy with his role there in Seattle as they saved him for the playoffs. And it ended up working. So it's hard to really criticize it because he was good when they needed him, right? He definitely went, you weren't watching, go, boy, that guy's beat up, too many miles on that car. So here's the deal. We've been expecting this Chiefs breakout, right? Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes for about 3 seasons. And we keep drafting. And to be fair, I think before the injury, Mahomes was doing a lot better fantasy-wise, right? Was he a top 5 QB?
He was on fire in the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So obviously, we were expecting it with some data points and some basis in reality. It was a correct assumption. But boy, that team just continues to get older. So obviously it helps him because he's going to get way more work. Now, is it going to vault him, into that top category like some people believe? I don't know. And I don't know if that has much to do with him as the actual overall team success. What is your expectation for Kansas City's offense this year? Do you think Mahomes comes back just fine? I mean, he's supposed to be back by what, week 3, week 4? Is he going to come in and without missing a beat and just hit it? Or is this going to be one of those years we've seen it with the guys where they take a full year to return to themselves of actually playing?
I think, he'll definitely be relying less on his scrambling, which is, his main part of his game. So that's going to be interesting to see. Travis Kelce comes back. He actually looked rejuvenated last year, but he's another year older. Rashee Rice, who knows what's happening with him? Like, he has another off-field issue that he's dealing with. He could get suspended by the league for the season. Who knows? Like, what's happening with him? And then we got Xavier Worthy, who got hurt early on last year, and he was terrible for the rest of the season pretty much. But also, I think that, they just had too many guys to throw to, which did not help the situation for Worthy. But, Worthy could be, the main weapon there this coming season, because, it's going to be that similar to what we saw 2 years ago when Worthy had a breakout and we were all expecting like high things off of him in his second year. He's going to get that opportunity probably this coming year, depending on what happens to Rashee Rice. But, I think if Mahomes has enough of these weapons to throw to, his scrambling ability is not going to be like that big of a deal, like as far as his ability to put up points in fantasy. And the fact that they have a competent running back now is only going to help him out with reducing some of that need for him to do all the crazy crazy plays or whatever. So I think that Kenneth Walker is going to be a huge help to the Chiefs. We've been wanting them to get a decent running back basically since they got rid of Kareem Hunt the first time around. And we've seen running backs with some talent come in there and do well. Like we saw McKinnon had a couple good years there. Not nothing huge, but like he outperformed definitely, I would say, whatever his ADP was, and outperformed expectations. But I do think that Walker is coming in here with obviously higher expectations, but I do think that he can still live up to those expectations and help out this team big time. And it's going to help out Walker too, to have a quarterback who, the teams are going to, opposing teams are going to be respecting as one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's going to open things up for Kenneth Walker. And I think Walker will open things up for Mahomes too. So I think it's kind of a good fit all around for the entire offense, probably.
Yeah. So Walker's another, I know that, we're supposed to take stands and stuff, but that's another one I think his ADP will be correct. But unlike some of the others that we've said that about, like, I think his ceiling is way higher, right? Like, I think Waddle's ADP will be pretty close to correct, but I don't think his ceiling will be. I think he's going to pay off at best, Walker, I think his ADP will be correct, but he does have a chance to be a top 5 running back. So hard not to like Kenneth Walker, but me, I've always loved him just as a player, and I always felt that whenever he didn't get there, it wasn't because of him as a player, it was because of lack of opportunity. So seems like he'll get that this year. Unfortunately, like I said, with Burden and Odunze, everybody knows that. So it's not like, taking a stand on maybe like DJ Moore or David Montgomery, where I don't think all the field agrees with us that these players will exceed their ADP.
Yeah, and I think, obviously him moving is going to be good for Zach Charbonnet. The Seahawks also picked up Emmanuel Wilson from the Packers. So, Charbonnet's not going to have that backfield to himself. But what do you think their spread? What do you think the benefits to Charbonnet here?
In Seattle?
Yeah, just getting rid of the competition for touches, and
you know who it benefits, Simon. My guy Holani. It's Holani season.
Holani, yeah.
Because even when Charbonnet comes back, assuming he's as good as he was, which is, I would say, only 80% chance, right? There's a 20% chance that this injury jacks him up. They're going to go 50-50. And now Holani is going to take over that 50% role. And I don't think people are expecting it. So I think Charbonnet will be drafted fine. I think Holani is going to way exceed his ADP. I think that's who it really helps. I mean,
but don't you think that Emmanuel Wilson is gonna be the number 2? You think they're gonna give that to Holani over Emmanuel Wilson?
I personally like Holani more than Wilson.
Interesting. Okay.
I have Wilson on my dynasty, so I hope I'm wrong. But when I watch the tape, I like Holani better.
Yeah. So that's something to take note, because on the depth chart right now, I see it Charbonnet, Wilson, Holani. We saw it with Holani, when he got back from injury, spread was very high on him, and we saw him have, some flashes in those games, but he was just buried on the depth chart behind Walker and Charbonnet. So it will be interesting to see how that goes out in camp. Another reason to check out sportnuggets.com, and track the progress of these players, because we're going to want to know what is, which of these players is going to be the number 2 on this team behind Charbonnet. Because it, like Spread said, it's going to be a 50-50 split. The offense isn't going to change. They got the same coordinator, obviously. No, they got a new coordinator. Who's the coordinator right now?
In Seattle?
Yeah, they obviously the
It's
Raiders
it's
got
a
the
promotion.
OC
It's an in-house promotion.
in-house
I'll,
promotion.
I'll look it up right now, but I'm not really too familiar with him. It's not a
Yeah,
name you would know. It's like the quarterback's coach or the running game coordinator or something that's
gotcha,
essentially going to run the Shanahan system as taught to him by Kubiak.
gotcha. So I mean
Let me get
that
the
makes
exact
sense.
name.
So they're probably not going to
Brian
change.
Laurie. Oh, my bad. No. Oh, so he is from the Shanahan tree,
Mhm.
but it wasn't an in-house promotion. It was the 49ers run game coordinator, tight ends coach. But
Gotcha.
I mean, it's the same offensive game plan.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean,
And
obviously there'll be little wrinkles in the scheme or whatever, but
yeah,
the general principles of the offense remain exactly the same. It's the same blocking scheme, same way of really emphasize. It's the one thing I think that they do that's not traditional football is they emphasize skill players over linemen, where we've always been taught build through the line and then work our way out, right? They kind of start outside. You look at the way the 49ers draft, right? They take a lot of skill players in the early rounds and they give up a lot of draft capital, right, for Christian McCaffrey,
right.
because they believe in skill players and they believe they can find linemen in the third or fourth rounds or as restricted free agents and make it work that way. Technically, they have. It flies in the face of everything old guys like me believe. We think that you build the line, right? And that's everything, You win the game with the line of scrimmage. So, but no, I mean, like I said, I don't think I think you should just view it as like QBX still running it. The only difference is he might not be as sharp as far as in-game adjustments and stuff, but it's going to be the same system.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I know even the Niners wanted to run more dual back systems, and Shanahan came out and he said that Robinson was struggling with some of the play designs that he had hoped would give him more of a split. So he ended up having to run McCaffrey more because Robinson was not getting the coverages down and stuff, and the routes he was supposed to run. He just wasn't good at it, He kept either not getting open or dropping the passes or running the wrong route. So there's a reason they moved on from Robinson, even though on paper that seemed like a great fit, right?
Yeah,
it just didn't work out.
Gotcha. So reminder, before we get into these, we'll do a few more of these and then we'll jump into a draft. Hit that like button, get us to 50 likes. Also subscribe to the YouTube channel and help me get to, I think we're close to 2,700. I think we were like pushing that towards the end of last season. So help me get to 2,700 YouTube subscribers. The next guy I wanted to look at is Travis Etienne. He moves to the Saints in a 3-year, $52 million deal. Spread. I like this move for the Saints and the Saints offense. Offensive-minded coach there, and he gets a competent running back that's not like an aging guy. So, what are your thoughts here on this move, and how do you like the benefit for Etienne?
Sometimes when these free agents get signed, I think it's good for their fantasy production. Because I think when you draft the guy, right, you don't want to run him into the ground and you want to get years of service out of your draft pick, right? But I think, they're just looking at him like, we got him for 3 years, right? And even the third year doesn't matter, right? If we get 2 bomb seasons out of him, this contrasts to success. So, as someone who had a lot of ATN last year because I like him a lot as a player, like I said, I think I fall in love with my player takes too much sometimes. And disregard the usage. I was frustrated with him not being the bell cow there. And I think he's got an opportunity to do that now. And I think this is one where I think he's going to exceed his ADP. Number one, people don't pay attention to the Saints. They were sneaky an okay team there towards the end of the year. And I'll tell you what, I was wrong. And we probably did a show together. And I might have said this when we talked about him. Oh, what's the difference between Shuck and Rattler, right? Oh, that's the same guy. Oh, it's a downgrade. I like the Rat more, No, I was wrong. Shuck is a little better. And now I think with all this experience, we're really going to see a nice little leap from him next year. And the other thing with the Saints is they don't have a lot of expectations. Like, I think the expectations for that team is just don't be an embarrassment. Don't be terrible, right? So that's another advantage he has. It's not like they're playing in New York. So I'm higher on ATN. I think he exceeds his ADP.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think it's a good move for ETN. And the Saints were legit. Like, we were high on Shuck towards the end of last season. I noticed that he was going for that Rookie of the Year push towards the end of the season because they were giving him like work unnecessarily. They had him throw like 49 times against the Jets when they won 49 to like nothing or something, like, or 49 to, like, so you could tell that they were trying to get Shuck that push for the Rookie of the Year towards the end of the season. Easy to take advantage of in DFS, but he looked good regardless. And that team, I'm a fan of Kellen Moore in general, and the offenses that he runs. He was with my Eagles before that, won the Super Bowl, and he's history with the Cowboys and all that. So he's done well with running backs in the past. Like Saquon Barkley had his 2,000-yard year with that offensive coordinator. So big opportunity for ETN. He's going to be in a good offensive environment for a running back of his skill set.
Yeah. So it looks like we're both higher than ADP for ATN.
Yeah. So we had a couple guys go to San Francisco. We had Christian Kirk and Mike Evans both moved to San Francisco. What are your thoughts there, Spread?
Love it for Evans, and I have no idea what to do with Kirk. I didn't think he was good. Then he had that great season. Then after that, he was still best ball viable. Then I'm like, maybe he is good. I was wrong, and he doesn't do anything in Houston last year in a situation where he should have thrived. I mean, Evans is a no-brainer, right? I mean, the only thing is you can't get any value. Everybody knows about it, right? But
right.
I love Evans there, and Kirk. I will take flyers on him because I cannot dismiss his talent, but I think I'm only going to draft him when I'm getting an ADP value, right? Oh, look, he's, 8 slots below, top wide receiver on the board, Yeah, okay, I might take him then. What are you doing with Kirk?
I'm kind of the same boat as you. I'm just like, I've gone to that bag too many times and it's burned me too many times. The one year that I didn't go there was the year that he broke out. So I'm just sick of Christian Kirk at this point, man. But he's a guy that could break out. And I think, if you haven't been burned by him in the past, I don't think you're going to get hurt drafting him probably wherever he's going. I'm sure he's going like late rounds. So I think he's worth a late round flyer for sure.
Yeah.
The last thing before we go to a draft, we'll cover just, like a couple of these quarterbacks. We got Tua moves to the Falcons in a $1.26 million deal. Obviously, the Dolphins are going to be paying the bulk of his salary next year. The Falcons get a veteran quarterback for, basically a minimum price. And then we got Kyler Murray in the same situation, moves to the Vikings, 1 year, $1.3 million deal, with the Cardinals fronting the most of Kyler Murray's likely salary in this coming year. So what are your thoughts there on these veteran quarterbacks moving to these new teams in second chances?
I mean, Kyler. That's the one I want. I don't even know if Tua is going to be starting when Penix comes back. Kyler's way better than Tua.
Yeah.
He's going to a way better situation, and he's the man. I mean, yeah, maybe JJ McCarthy takes over. I think Penix has a way better chance of taking that starting job from Tua than JJ McCarthy does, especially after hearing the way Jefferson and his receivers talk about him. I mean, boy, talk about persona non grata. I mean, those guys do not have his back at all. So Kyler, I mean, yeah, I love Kyler here. And I've been so out on him ever since that video game thing came. I think this is going to be number one, the thing that kind of kicks him in the butt, right? Although he ended up with a great landing spot, right? But not a lot of people wanted him. I'm sure he has to be aware of that. And I just think it's such a better situation. The coaching is better. The teammates are better. And he's not going to be the team leader anymore. He's coming in, he's not. Obviously, he's going to be like expected to take a leadership role, but there's already a culture established that he needs to fit into. He's not the one setting the tone. And it felt like he was the one setting the tone in Arizona. And I think a lot of the criticism came from, this is not the guy you want to set the tone. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad guy. I think he's going to fit in just fine on a well-run, high-level organization, And I'm actually a fan of Jonathan Gannon, but it was just by the time he got there, it was just too little too late.
Yeah.
The whole organization had already catered to him for way too long. He didn't have a lot of talent to work with. And he's not an offensive guy, And I don't know if he chose the right guy. I don't know if Petsing was going to be the one that was going to push him over the edge. Because it didn't felt like Petsing was just running his system. He didn't look at like what's going on here. Even the drafting of Marvin Harrison. I'm going to draft this precision route running receiver to go with the guy who excels the most when he's freelancing. And that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? I mean, there's nothing that's good that goes on the Arizona Cardinals. So I love Kyler. Tua, you can talk me into it's going to be like we just talked about with Kirk. If he falls, you can talk me into it. I'm not drafting him at ADP. If you had me bet right now at 50-50 odds, I would bet Penix starts week 10. I don't think Tua keeps that job.
Yeah. I see that too. Like, I think Tua, he's going to be too gun shy, like after all the concussions and everything. But I do think that he lands with a decent coach in Stefanski. So, I think Stefanski is going to probably run a game plan that kind of caters to Tua, because I'm assuming that Tua is going to win the job over Penix, just based on how Penix looked in this past season, and then Penix is going to have to kind of grow into that role. But like Spread said, I think that can happen later in the season. But I do think that guys like Drake London are going to benefit if Tua keeps that short passing game and getting rid of the ball quick, because London was running a lot of slot routes last season and in the previous couple seasons actually. So I think he can benefit from a guy like Tua, and then maybe Kyle Pitts, because we know that Tua was favoring tight ends, especially in the red zone. But Kyle Pitts, if they give him those shorter routes, and we know that Stefanski has favored tight ends in the past as well. So I think those guys can benefit from a guy like Tua. But overall, I do think that Penix will probably close out the year as the quarterback, unless we see a comeback of the year type of season out of Tua.
Here's my defense of Penix, and I'll use another basketball analogy here. I used to always be amazed when other basketball players just loved Carmelo Anthony, right? And those of us as bettors, especially futures bettors, like to actually win a championship, wanted nothing to do with the guy, right? And I started thinking, okay, why does everyone I know who bets on basketball think Carmelo is a net negative to a team, but all the players think he's this great guy, right? And it's because Melo gives them buckets. Even against the best defense, he can score, right? So they, oh man, I don't want to guard him. So they think he's good because they don't want to guard him, right? Even though he doesn't do anything else to help your team win. And I think that this situation applies here to Penix, where the arm talent and his ability to make good throws is so high that they're willing to look past those duds where we can't look past those games, right? I remember Tyler cussing me out, right? When we all, cored him in our DFS lineups, right? And took props on him, and he just, comes out with just a stinker, those are 70 yards, why do you like this guy? Why do you like this guy? Right. I think they're willing to look past that because his ceiling is so much higher, right? And his throws are so much better. And I think that arm strength is going to be the reason. I think that's why, unlike McCarthy, I don't think the locker room supports him. I think the locker room likes Penix in spite of the duds, because when he is balling, I think that the way he throws the ball that they all really like. So that's kind of my argument for Penix and why I'm not super high on Tua. But you know, it's also what we talk about priors. If you've watched my thing before, you know that I love Penix coming out of school, and I actually love Tua coming out of school too. But it was just, I think the concussions did him in. You know, I just don't think he can read a defense anymore, and he was never a huge athlete to begin with. So,
yeah, I think Penix, you know, I think he can benefit the same way that Tua can from Stefanski as the head coach. You know, two-time head coach of the year for the freaking Browns. You know, I mean, you got to be somewhat know what you're doing. And on top of that, you know, Penix, the other thing that concerned me about him was, you know, coming off of his third ACL tear. He's had two in his right knee. This one's in his left knee.
No, and that's one argument we have against Penix and why I think that they went ahead and took the shot on Tua. But it's kind of weird. You just got two of the most fragile guys in the league. What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the third string quarterback, right? That guy's like, man, I better get ready for the year.
Yeah, yeah. We got to get some intel on that third round quarterback.
Yeah, who's gonna be the third stringer there?
Yeah, or third string quarterback, not third round. All right, so let's take a look here. Let me go to Underdog. We're gonna take a look at the big board spread. Do we both want to jump in? Or do we want to do one
on yours? Because I don't have location set up on my computer.
Gotcha.
I think I told you the issues I've had with that, right? Because I'm in such a remote location, these DraftKings, Underdog, and I even found out Hulu for if I tried to watch using my local login.
Yeah.
They configure rate. Well, number one, Starlink, the satellite is, because, you know, I'm communicating through a satellite dish. So that number one thinks I'm in San Jose. And then two, to verify when I say like, no, I'm up here in Tahoe National Forest, it relies on it pings me off other routers in my area. Since there's no other router in my area, like when I looked it up online, I haven't done it yet. It told me I need to create all these dummy routers in my house.
Yeah.
So that it pings off it so I can draft from my laptop again and not on my phone.
Nice. All right.
Those are the things you don't realize when you move to a remote rural location, Simon.
Yeah.
That DraftKings will not, and DraftKings and Underdog and Hulu, and they're not gonna recognize my location. I always wonder why it kept sending me to San Jose when I would look something up on like Home Depot or something, you know, and I'm like, I'm not in San Jose. And I looked it up and it's because of Starlink. So they have 2 or 3 locations off each satellite.
You know, it's funny. Spread had a few different situations. Like Spread lives in Northern California, Spread, and
yeah, basically the foothills, Sierra Nevadas, Tahoe National. I could walk to the National Forest just as fast as I could walk to my neighbors next door. They're equidistant apart, and I'm in Tahoe National Forest. So.
Yeah. So he dealt with a pretty big snowstorm.
Yeah, which I wasn't ready for.
Took his power out for like a week. Spread, like I talked to Spread, like I grew up in Vermont, so I'm used to, you know, like massive snowstorms and stuff. I talked to Spread, like see if he had like you know, how he was doing with the power out. Like Spread was under a blanket in 30-degree weather in his house. Because you know, like
reading books.
You were saving on the on the firewood or something though, right? You weren't
the reason I wasn't burning the fires. I actually got a fire going right now. It's all firewood I collected because it's raining today, and I'm like, I think it's gonna be hot the rest of the year. I don't want this all on my porch. Yeah. But no, so my wood stove is in my kitchen, and because the power was out, I have all this meat in my freezer that I didn't want to go bad.
Yeah.
So I was still able to cook just fine because I had my propane for the stove.
Right.
And I could just pull meat out, you know, and cook it out the stove. But I didn't want to lose my meat, so I wasn't running the fireplace because at that point I ended up getting one of the generators that you recommend, or 2 of them actually, and hiking them in and out to keep the refrigerator going once things drop down a little bit. So
how'd that work? I haven't had to use one of those yet. How did it work for the fridge?
So I only used it for the fridge. It gave me between 12 to 14 hours, but it worked good enough to where I only needed like 12 a day because it would get it all the way back down to freezing. And so it still wasn't that warm, even when the snow was melting, it was only 40 or 50 here,
Gotcha.
So it worked great actually. And I could carry it in and out.
Yeah.
Because my buddy was going to give me a gas generator, but I'm like, dude, I can't carry that in. It's like 100 pounds and I'm hiking through 4 feet of snow when I'm going in and out.
Yeah. I had to check on Spread to see if he was going to be able to do NBA cores.
I was out for like a week. And then what sucks is it really got me out of my groove too on both sports.
Right.
I felt like I was really dialed in, and it's just so crazy. It made me realize like how hard that we work without thinking about it. Yeah. Right. Because even if we didn't do this, we'd probably be checking the news and we'd probably be whatever, but not being able to do that. Like I came back and like, I think I like lost all my college basketball bets to start. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, this guy got hurt in the NBA, right? Like there's all these new rotation pieces I wasn't aware of. And it was like, I was only out for a week. So it kind of just shows you how much we're doing here. All right. Did this one fill up? Are we good?
Yep. Looks like it just filled. Just waiting to see where we are. Oh, we're number 1. All right.
Okay, cool. This is fun because then we can get a conversation of who you like to be the best player in NFL fantasy football next season. Who do you like? Are you going chalk?
I'm going to go chalk. Man, it's for me, like Robinson and Gibbs are very similar, obviously. I think Gibbs is in the more stable situation, and he just lost Montgomery, but Robinson also in a situation where the coach favors the run game. What are you thinking here, Spread?
This is where the usage might kill me, but just because I think Bijan's a better player, I want Bijan.
Bijan? Yeah.
I watch him. I'm just like, there's so many good running backs in the league, I can understand arguments for McCaffrey, but I mean, to me, he's just the best running back in the league right now.
Gotcha. All right. So we got Davis Maddock in this one. He's probably doing a live stream on this one.
That'll be fun. We can go watch him and see what he says about our picks.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to check it out. Like this is my first draft of the season. So,
I've done that before, and I go and I'm like, oh, I wonder what they say about my picks, and I go watch it, and they barely even talk about it. Hey, I'm gonna be right back.
Cool, man. Yeah, so we got Bijan Robinson as our first overall pick. I think that makes a lot of sense. Some years I prefer to go wide receiver for that first overall, but the way that the NFL has been going lately towards running backs, Spread and I've been projecting that for a few years now. And we saw the tea leaves on it. It happened last year, basically where these running backs value finally paid off for us. And this year they're probably going to be going more expensive than we're used to. So I do see a lot of running backs coming out in this stretch. So it might be back to 0 RB type of season or hero RB type of season for us, since we already drafted a running back as our first overall pick. So I'm going to be looking at wide receivers. We see Malik Neighbors. He comes up at ADP of 17. He's that part from Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson going pretty late. I would take him probably earlier than 10th overall pick based on his upgraded situation. Malik Neighbors, we still don't know how he's recovering from that injury. That's where we're going to want to keep track on sportnuggets.com on Malik Neighbors' feed to see what kind of news and nuggets.
And isn't that where this contest is interesting? Because we're guessing.
Yeah. Oh,
he's either going to be an absolute steal or just a waste of a pick. It just feels like his outcomes are so varied, right?
Right.
Like the chances of him just landing like right around ADP don't really seem too high.
Yeah. We saw Davis ended up picking Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Isn't that crazy that he goes as the third wide receiver?
I
have him as my wide receiver 1. Like maybe I'm just too recency biased, but like,
right.
What would have changed? First of all, Nakua is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nakua is a ticking time bomb.
Right.
And Chase is good, but I mean, we talked about earlier with organizations. It's a bad organization.
Right. Yeah. I was high on Nakua last year. He was going towards the end of the first round. So I was drafting,
he was going like
drafting any
11.
chance that I had. But having him as the second wide receiver off the board, I'd take Njigba over Nakua.
So I go in Jigba, Nakua, Chase.
Chase third. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little higher on Chase. I probably biased though, because I've been drafting Chase since he was a rookie, like as much as I could. And having him number 1 overall last season, at least he comes into a situation this season. With Joe Burrow, you never know how healthy he's going to be, but at least he's got Flacco. I think they signed Flacco again, right? Like he's the backup. So he showed a chemistry with Flacco. So at least we're not getting that crapshoot of that other quarterback. Okay, Pickens here. What are you thinking here? Spread Pickens, Collins, Olave.
Of those three, I like Collins the most.
What about Browers? Do we go? Let's go with a.
Let's go Collins.
Collins.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let's get Collins in there.
Pickens, I know he did good last year. But we talked about these malcontents and these diva types. Yeah. They're always going to do good in their first year. We saw signs towards the end of the year of things already kind of going wacky with
8 seconds here. Spread. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I forgot we're doubling.
You want to? Who do you want to go with?
Brock Bowers. That's fine with me.
Okay. Cool.
Let's just, for the sake of the show, though, talk about our other options there.
Yeah.
I probably would have said ETN or Jacobs if we didn't take him.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the mindset, like where we can go more towards the heavy wide receiver early builds, because I think that there's going to be an overcompensation based on last season where everybody's going to want to like load up on these early round running backs. If we look for that value like later on, I think we're going to find value with these running backs. We already got Bijan, so we got our hero RB build going here. We got Nico Collins, we got Brock Bowers, so we got solid guys. Collins was a first round pick last season, I believe. He was going like mid first round spread.
He's going right next to Puka.
Yeah. So like
right there.
Yeah, I feel like we got a pretty good deal on him at pick 24 overall. Basically, second, third round pick. And then we got Brock Bowers.
Real quick, do you see the name of this guy's drafting?
Which
I love Naomi Osaka.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I didn't catch what he was doing at first. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just had to see it on the screen. All right, we got Bowers. Go right ahead. I love Naomi Osaka. Boy, talk about dedicated.
Spread, by the way, providing tennis cores for our premium subscribers over on sportnuggets.com. Make sure if you sign up, get in our premium Discord. That's where you're going to get all these cores from our guys. We got Sick Hemi in there who's giving out some great cores for NBA and all the ancillary sports. And then we got Charlie Wright, who joined us, giving out those cores for MLB. And Spread's been giving out cores for for NBA and tennis. And he also did a pretty good breakdown of the NCAA tournament. We were live for a while there. Spread.
Florida was the one that really got me. So.
Yeah. Spread. We had Florida winning the championship. So when they got eliminated, we were kind of screwed a little bit. But then Duke lost, and Duke took out a ton of teams. So that was pretty good. Let's see. All right, so we got someone just drafted Bucky Irving. I think it's too early for Irving with Kenneth Gainwell joining the team. What are your thoughts there, Spread? Speaking as free agents.
I don't know. 4th round for a running back that could potentially get a lot of work, right? I mean, he's been productive. I thought he was too high last year. I almost think he's going too low now.
Gotcha.
He's never been the bell cow, right? Other than injury situations for DFS for 1 week, right? But it's not, right. I don't think that, he's ever going to be in a situation where he's going to get more than 60 or 65%. I still think he could pay off there. It sounds like you're not high on him. Maybe I'm not rating Gainwell high enough, but I just think Gainwell is going to just be what he is.
Yeah, I think Bucky was weird last year. He had some, difficulty coming off of his injury, and then he was like freaking like going through some. Here, hang on. Let's focus here. We got Terry McLaurin. Who do you like there?
Adams or Evans?
Adams. Yeah, I like Adams. I think Adams. We saw him have a great year with the Rams last year. They haven't really added any other weapons to compete with him. I do like McLaurin for a bounce back too, though. What do you think for our next? Do we go Lamar? Like, what do we?
That's who I was looking at.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay. So we got him queued. We have 9 seconds to talk about. The other one I wanted to bring up was Scattaboo or one of these running backs. Scroll back real quick. I think those guys are all in play.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about them real quick. So we ended up drafting Lamar, and I think that was probably the best one.
Yeah.
So Scattaboo, when are we expecting him back?
I don't think he's going to be back. Like, his knee was completely like messed up, wasn't it? Like, he destroyed his knee. So, or was it his ankle? It wasn't his ankle. Like, didn't he have
whatever
like,
it is? He was still using a cane. Like, I keep saying that about these guys. Maybe I'm too into canes, but
like, let me look it up real quick. Scattaboo injury. I thought it was he dislocated his ankle. Like, that thing was hanging by a thread. Like, and like a running back, we saw Dak Prescott have that type of injury a few years ago, and I can't remember how long it took him to come back, but he wasn't like really doing much running in his return from that, was he? Like, I don't know, man. Like, a running back with an injury.
No, he's never been the same. In fact, he's just a pocket guy now.
Yeah. So
all right. So we talked about Scattaboo real quick. He's already off the board. Montgomery, and then Tootin, who we didn't talk about on the ATN, and we probably should have brought it up. Doesn't that kind of clear the way for him to just be an absolute stud? It seems like the reason it felt like the reason ATN had a high fantasy profile this year was they were like, okay, we're saving Tootin for next year, right? But as the season went on and the games meant more and more, it felt like Tootin was the guy that they liked. And it pissed me off as a guy who didn't draft any Tootin and drafted a bunch of ETN just because they were similar in ADPs. And I'm like, in my mind, he's better and he's more experienced, But Tootin's one that I think could necessarily be really, really good this year, especially if that Jacksonville offense continues to improve under Liam Cohen. I mean, we're seeing him in the 5th round. I think he could be a 2nd or 3rd round next year. He could be like this year's Bucky Irving almost. I know Irving was way later, but my point, where he just bursts onto the scene.
The interesting thing about Tootin is the fact that they picked up Chris Rodriguez, who played with Liam Cohen in college, and Cohen was high on him. They paid him 2-year, $10 million deal. So that has me a little bit concerned with Tootin.
That doesn't concern me as much for a 5th round pick because number one, there's no real true bell cows anymore, anyways.
Yeah.
So that actually doesn't concern me that much.
Gotcha. But
compared to any other backup, it's not like they signed David Montgomery. Right? Where it's like, oh, he's coming in to be the number one.
Right.
He was going to have a backup regardless that was going to get some work. I mean, Cohen's not going to go bell cow.
Let's look here, Spread. We're coming up here. Do we want to go with a running back now? I think the Steelers are likely to draft a running back. Ramondre, do you see anything here you like? I liked Algier and
the non-guy, but I don't know if it's a good ADP value. I say we push it back.
Should we let's go with a wide receiver then? Who do we like for a wide receiver?
You just gave us Pierce.
Yeah.
I don't know about Wilson. Of those 3, I like Sutton the best.
Sutton the best? Okay.
Yeah, but do we need another one now? We have 3. Do we want to go to 4 right now? Or...
We got Houston, lost the Rams and the Colts so far. And I guess we pick up Denver. Like, we're going with good teams here. So good offenses. So we can't go wrong really with a guy like Sutton. Like, if we're thinking from a stacking perspective, we should probably start looking at some of these Ravens because I think they're going to start creeping up on us. Let's see. We got Henry's or Flowers is off the board. We still got Andrews, who's going to have, but we already got our tight end pretty short up. We got Justice Hill. We got There's no real like receivers that stand out to me for.
Yeah, we should draft like Jordan Tyson or something.
Yeah.
Well, he probably actually won't be around for Baltimore, right? But I think they're drafting a rookie, and I think that guy immediately like vaults up like 3 or 4 rounds in this contest.
Right. So if we're looking at our next pick here, it's looking like the running backs are getting like pretty thin. You liked Monangai. I kind of like Corum is ADP of 99, and we are at about 85. I think Corum's going to take on a bigger role. He was starting to do that towards the end of last season. But I would tend to lean with spread and Monangai. We saw him like even in the passing game towards the end of last season, he was getting decent work. Oh, Rico Dowdle going to Pittsburgh. What do you think of that spread as a free agent? Talking point.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah.
So he just got picked up. So Monangai is the currently the top ranked running back for us.
Making to us. But go to just the running back tab, just out of curiosity. How bad is this going to get if we push it back any farther? Dobbins, I don't know what to do with him.
Dobbins, yeah. I like Corum the most. If Monangai is gone.
Funny. I feel so burned by that Corum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But like like the thing with what's his face, McVay, is he like I always feel like he shies away from these rookie running backs, and when he latches on with a guy like he did with Kyron Williams, or when Williams was waiting in the wings for who was before Williams,
Gurley.
Was it Gurley? Yeah, like
there's probably one in between, obviously.
Yeah, I think there was but I remember there being a bit of a.
It was like Cam Akers or something.
Yeah, he likes to latch on to those running backs and run them into the ground. So I think that Kyron has felt these last couple seasons like he's he can't possibly have much more gas in the tank.
Yeah, but he keeps doing it, right? I mean, it's like Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
that seems like the argument against him every year. Like, you can't do it again.
do we go with him? What do you think here, spread?
Yeah, we have to. We have no other options. Even if we didn't like him, I think we have to pick him because of our roster construction.
Right.
Because, look, we've completely ignored running backs, so now we're just going to have to take shots.
Right.
Right. Like our wide receivers are pretty good.
That's I do like Rashad White later on. I'll talk to him about him in a minute. Want to go with Pittman here or double up on our tight end, or what do you think?
No, I think we go running back or Pittman. Yeah, I guess.
All right, let me look at that. Well, shit, our time expired there. So yeah, so I mean, this is
dang, we should have taken Jadarian Price.
Oh, Jadarian Price.
You know why I like Jadarian Price?
Why is that?
Imagine this scenario, Simon.
Put him in the queue.
With pick 32 of the NFL draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Jadarian Price. How much does his ADP go up? 4 rounds?
Yeah.
4 rounds?
Yeah.
He would be the best running back there. I like Holani. Go look at Price's tape. It's way better.
I think that backfield is too crowded, though. I don't think that they would go for a running back. Do you?
Yeah, I think they would. Because first of all, you're in Super Bowl champs.
Yeah,
what are your needs? Right? In fact, with your Super Bowl champs, they just lost a running back.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's not like we needed offensive linemen, right? I mean, you just won the Super Bowl and you dominated the line of scrimmage. You have the best defensive line in the league, right?
Right.
So you can afford to do whatever you want. You're not like the Raiders.
Right.
Raiders need 3 defensive linemen, 4 offensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 2 safeties, 2 corners. I mean, they can do whoever they want. So
I think we're good at wide receiver for a minute.
I don't think unless it's just someone that's just jumping out, like how is he not drafted? I think we have to just keep taking our shot at running back now and just load up on all these backups and just hope, that injury throws them in there.
We got to start thinking about our backup quarterback too. Yeah. Like we do have
I got CJ. I think we target CJ.
CJ? Oh God, I can't stand
our
CJ.
Well, first of all, I like CJ. I've always liked CJ, and I think he's just going to continue to get better. You take out that first half of the year, and you just take his back 8 games, and then you make that a full season. He wouldn't have been that bad last year.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like last year, like I was like negative on him in the beginning of the season. I was kind of the opposite stand as spread. Spread was high on him. I couldn't stand him, and like just seeing like him in the playoffs, he was just like god awful, man. Like,
but that I was arguing this about Tyler. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we're playing best ball. It doesn't matter. What matters is your ability to put up, a ridiculous DK score or ridiculous fantasy score against the Colts and the Jaguars, right? That's what's going to win you this thing, right? Go ahead, go.
I'm
11 of 36 in the playoffs. I don't care because best ball's over at that point.
I am kind of regretting that we did not take Olave for one of those picks because Shuck here, I'm seeing him available at 118. He'd be a good guy to have as our backup.
I don't think Shuck's that much better than CJ. Do you?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like Shuck had a good rookie season, then he's like struggled his last couple years. We've only seen the rookie season out of Shuck, and half of that season was against a bunch of scrubby teams towards the end there. So no, I can see your argument there.
And I think the reason we're down on CJ is because he's let us down a couple times.
Right. Do we take that flyer on Malik Willis that we were talking about? Like we know he has the
No.
You don't want him? No? No. All right. Let's look at these running backs then.
Hold on, we do have to figure out our backup though.
Let's
we taking it right now? Okay, so we got Rashad. Rashad, I'm fine with you taking away. He's queued up.
Okay, let's go. We'll go with Stroud. We'll go.
Are you sure?
Stroud.
I think there's an argument that you take Darnold here, but we don't have any correlation.
I do think that Cam Ward's situation is going to be improved this year too. I think he's going to be a sneaky guy to draft. He's at 141. We don't even need to think about him now.
I just think that we already drafted Nico, right? So if this team's going to really advance and be good, he's just going to have a good year. I don't think there's any way that Nico has one of those Justin Jefferson years where he's all the usage.
Right.
So.
Now, real quick, before we go with Stroud, what do you think of the value on George Kittle right here? I know he's going to miss.
You didn't already draft Bowers. I think when you draft Bowers or you draft a tight end that high, you're basically saying like, I'm not taking another tight end until like round 17.
Okay.
And if he does or he gets hurt, I just think my mistake was 2 years ago. I would have won way more. I was telling you I had a pretty good season in 2024. Mm-hmm. My double tight end builds were what killed me. It was just such a waste. I kept going 2 stud tight ends,
Right.
And it was just like, no, I should have just kept drafting wide receivers and running backs.
Yeah, I mean,
I think by taking Bowers where we did, we've basically just said we take a flyer on someone at the end. Yeah. I think right now we got to just keep shoring up this running back position.
Let's take a look here.
I kind of like Rachaad White though, because he's going to help us bridge the gap. Because at this point, we're taking all flyers, right?
Right. Yeah.
We're taking Charbonnets and Rodriguez's and guys that are probably only going to go off due to injury.
Oh shit! Charbonnet's still available? Who are they expecting to be?
Because he's not going to play like the first 5 or 6 weeks.
Well, does he have an ACL?
I'll look it up right now. I don't think he plays right to start the season.
Gotcha. Oh, Jonathan Brooks, though, man.
Yeah, he's tough.
He's at 151 for his ADP. I got a blurb on him recently. Let me see if
real quick search says Charbonnet's not going to play till the mid-season.
Mid-season, okay.
That's what they're giving us. So I think that's why he's so low, because you're only getting 8 weeks of him.
Gotcha. Okay. So if Charbonnet's not playing, then that's going to just like Emmanuel Wilson is going to be a
We
steal.
have to take him. Yeah.
Yeah, where's he at?
166.
Okay, yeah, screw that. We could put him in the. Oh, you know what? I like Keaton Mitchell with the Chargers now too. By the way, that was
Did
another.
Najee get signed?
Najee? I don't know. I don't.
I know he was visiting the Raiders. Me and my buddy, because I have him in Dynasty, and I have Genty too. And so my buddy was teasing me like, "You're gonna have everybody on the Raiders." All right. Let's just check that there's no opportunity cost on the main board. Well, first of all, I like Rodriguez more than Brooks.
You like Rodriguez more than Brooks?
Don't you? We're a Tootin injury away from a number one on a really good offense.
Yeah,
we don't
true,
know that Brooks can stay healthy.
Yeah. Brooks, like,
he might never play.
Yeah. I remember last year, just people were all excited about him, coming back, and I was down on him because he was coming off that injury, and like
we lost Rodriguez. Who do we want now?
Let's see. We go. Brooks is 151.
I say we go Mitchell.
Mitchell?
I mean, of the options, right? I just think that we kind of we have to draft running backs, right? Just because of the way we built.
This is what I hate about drafting for the first time. All right, let's go with Mitchell. We picked Wilson. Do we want Mitchell too? Spread?
Yeah, why would we not?
Okay.
They're on different teams, aren't they?
All right. Yeah, no. I'm just wondering if we want to go back-to-back running backs there.
We need to. That's the only hole on our team.
That's true.
Look at our team.
Right.
I mean, there might be a couple people on the pod with better wide receivers, but we have Lamar, Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Nico, Devontae, Alec Pierce, Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman. I think now we can just do best player available.
Yeah.
But I think we needed to get to 5 running backs and fast because we're really rolling the dice here. Blake Corum is our number 2.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Rashad White, he's going to get us there sometimes. I don't know. And even now, where we're at with our build, we're going best player available. But if there's a debate, I think we're going to lean towards running back because I think we only want one more wide receiver total.
Right.
Right. Unless it's just a crazy value. And there was one that I saw on the screen. I love Denzel Boston, right?
No. Tell me about him.
Yeah, I really like.
Okay. Real quick spread. Jonathan Brooks expected ready for OTAs after ACL recovery. Head coach Canales expressed optimism about Brooks' return, saying, "Yep, I think so."
I mean, that's like telling. And this is where I'm really going to date me here, Simon. And I can't think of a modern one, but it's like telling me you think Elizabeth Taylor's latest marriage is going to work out, right? For those of us in our age group, you can understand. I don't know who gets married. I don't think people get married now, so I don't know who can make that joke. Here we are today, right? But it's just like I'll believe it when I see it. But I just, some people don't have NFL bodies.
Yeah. No,
this is not. This is not an easy thing to do.
Right. Somebody just picked Ayuk. I wonder what his situation is going to end up.
I don't think anyone wants him. He's going to end up back in San Francisco.
Let's look at Maddox's draft because we know that he's probably on his 100th by now. So we got Smith and Jigba. He went wide receiver. Then he went Trey McBride. First running back is Josh Jacobs. He's kind of thinking the same thing that we were thinking in that, we might find ability to get these mid-round running backs. Luther Burden. Then he went Tootin. So he's got Tootin and Jacobs as his running backs.
I like that.
Yep. And then he went with Williams as his quarterback, who I like. Go with that Burden pick. He's got Wilson and Addison, Pollard, Shuck, Coker. Then he's got Coleman, one of the rookie picks, Johnson, and Deebo Samuel. So,
Is he a free agent already, or did he get waived?
Who?
Debo.
That's a good question.
Got waived.
He should have. I would have thinking he got waived. Okay, so we're coming up. Like I kind of like a Okonkwo here. Oh, we got Tesla.
Warner more. Yeah, I like Tesla more.
Okay, let's get him in there. What about who else do you like here, Spread? We got Hill.
I like Barner. I like Barner the most of the tight ends available.
Barner? Okay. Let's get.
Isn't it crazy seeing Tyreek's name this low though?
Yeah. Yep. Similar situation, one of those devastating knee injuries. It's taking a little bit longer than expected to recover from, and he's old on top of it. So going to be interesting to see what team he lands on. I think I would take a flyer on Tyreek if he fell like well below his ADP. But, you know, at 174, I think we can get more. I think
he's the only person in this range that could really be a game changer, right?
Yes, that's true. Yep.
So.
The case for him. Yep. We can put him in our queue. Let's see if he falls to us in that next.
We don't need any more receivers, though. I don't think we should.
Oh, you know what? Tank Dell, though.
We could do that. I just think at this point we should just keep doing running backs.
We got Stroud and we got Collins. So I think Dell would make. Oh, you know what? That would have made sense to draft Schultz too, but whatever. We'll go with Let's do running. Do you like Pacheco on Detroit? That's another free agent move that we saw.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think like Tajay Spears? I'm wondering what the situation is going to be over there because we saw what's his face Tony Pollard have kind of a mediocre season last year. Like he really hasn't. I don't feel like he's made the impact that they wanted out of him. But what are your thoughts on that situation?
Well, I didn't think Pollard was that good to begin with.
Right.
And then Spears rookie year, we loved him. Mm-hmm. And I loaded up on him thinking Pollard's not that good. Spears is going to take the job. Right. And then I watched the games and I'm like, Pollard's better than Spears. At least that version. Right. Now he's 2 years older and Spears has more years of experience. Right. First of all, if we're drafting here, I want Katron Allen.
Oh, where's he at?
Go back to the running backs.
All right, let's get him in there. Yeah. What about Braylon Allen? Shitty team though. Katron, what round do you think he gets taken? Spread
third, maybe second.
Do you have a ideal landing spot for him?
No, I mean it's the same one for any of these rookies, right? Just a place where you're going to get a lot of run, right?
We come up on Christian
Pittsburgh, Seattle. Trying to think what would be another good spot. A good team that needs a running back. I almost think that San Francisco is not bad. I think whoever they draft is going to get a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to really try and dial it back on McCaffrey. I think they saw what they did with Walker.
Yeah. What's his face was Shanahan was saying that they want to reduce his load significantly. So,
Allen, do we want to go with two Allens here or what?
Braylon Allen and Katron Allen.
Yeah, or Kamara.
I'd rather take a shot on Kamara.
I would too. Why is he so low on this? What are we missing?
Well, just a shitty year last year. Only one touchdown. He had 471, but he was hurt for a big portion of it, I think.
Yeah, how many games did he play? If you think about it, 471 and 131 is not that bad.
Yeah.
Oh crap, we took Tyreek.
Did we?
We were talking. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, shit. We weren't. We were exploring it. Like
if you think about it, it's essentially the same play.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's a good call.
Oh, I forgot on this one. We have 2 extra picks too.
Yeah. Yep, we got 20 in this one.
Oh,
We
you
should
know
take
what?
another
That helped us
quarterback.
a lot for the way we did our build. We can even go 3 QBs now.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. We're looking at Rodgers. You know what? Watson's been getting a lot of news lately. Look at who he's competing with, and who did the Browns bring in as their new coach? Not really sure on that.
The guy that was going to go with Harbaugh, from Lamar's offensive coordinator.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What's his name?
Okay, so they brought him in specifically because they thought he would work well with Lamar with his style of play. Deshaun Watson, comes from a very similar, obviously, style of play. Could be a good fit there with that coach. What do you think? What do you think with Watson spread?
I'd rather have Sanders.
Sanders? Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he's going to win the job?
Football.
Yeah.
Right. So interceptions don't matter.
Let's see. So you think he's gonna? Do you think he's ultimately gonna be the starter with? Season?
Yeah, we talked about this before with these bodies. I don't think even Watson wins the starting job. I don't think he holds up.
Yeah,
and I don't think he has any incentive to hold up either.
Yeah, he made so much money.
When he gets hurt, he might just be like, "I'm cool."
Yeah, I'm seeing guys like Alec Ayamanor. I like him as a.
Yeah, he's great.
And then who
There's
else?
Kalani. We got to grab him.
Kalani? Yeah. Well, we've talked about him.
Take Shador off and have Kalani here. I actually like the running backs in this range. I like Jaden Blue here too.
Yeah, Jaden Blue, another guy people gave up on. Najee Harris, still waiting to see where he ends up.
But I kind of like him as a pick too, because wherever he lands, he's going to get run.
Should we grab him?
Yeah,
I mean, he's only
more running backs.
He's only 1 year removed from being the starter of
yeah. Let's take Najee and Halani.
All right, Najee and Halani.
Then now we've really addressed our running back situation.
Okay.
Right, because this is the true hero RB build.
Right.
Right. So Bijan and then just a bunch of dart throws.
Yeah. I think that we do need a quarterback. Let's get a third quarterback. Yeah. And you were thinking Sanders. Trying to see if there's anyone else.
Fields you're going to get 4 weeks out of, right?
It depends.
Starting on a really good offense isn't that bad.
I've heard Mahomes back for week 1 though. Have you heard
I thought he was back for week 4.
Let me check on the Sport Nuggets.
All right, check that real quick. While you do that, of the people on the screen, I like Mac Jones the best. I'm completely out on Cousins. Milrow. I guess.
Don't forget if you're watching, by the way, to sign up using the promo code SEEK to take advantage of that great offer that Underdog's doing right now. You're getting up to 50%. You're getting a 50% match up to $1,000 on your initial deposit. You're getting play $5, get $50 in free plays, and then on top of it, you're getting a gimme pick. So they're giving you a ton. I've never seen a sign up bonus that good before.
Yeah, you're right, Simon. Targeting a week 1 return. That's amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah, Andy Reid optimistic about Mahomes week 1 availability. We're seeing week 1 mentioned a lot. That was recent to this week, I believe, is when I started to see that buzz. So, yeah, keep an eye on this feed. You can sort it by player. That's what I did. I just sorted Patrick Mahomes, and all these nuggets come up for Mahomes, so you get a really good idea from these local sources. That's the important part. Local sources. These are the guys that are monitoring these players in the off season. Obviously, like Schefter is like a huge resource and all these national guys, but the local guys, you want to make sure to monitor their feeds as well, just to get that more of an internal look. Like these beat writers are interviewing these guys on a daily basis. They're watching them and, well, not practice yet, but we're getting to the point where they're going to be monitoring them closer than anyone else with these teams in training camp. Let's see when that comes up. So Shadir Sanders, Deshaun Watson, Mac Jones. Yeah, I'm not really seeing many great options. So, spread and I are leaning with Sanders to be the starter here. And
that's good for us, right? We don't have a pick out for that.
Yeah, no, that'd be our last one. And yep, there we go. All right, spread. So let's take a look at our team here. We ended up with Lamar Jackson, CJ Stroud, and Shadir Sanders as our quarterbacks. Running back, we went hero running back with Bijan Robinson as the first overall pick. We had Blake Corum as our second pick. That was in like pick 96. Then we had Rashad White, who I think is in a really good landing spot for him. Emmanuel Wilson, I do have a good feeling about Emmanuel Wilson on Seattle, especially with Charbonnet missing those first few games. Hulani, we also got. So we're going to be covered with that Seattle backfield unless they draft, like a stud with their, first pick in the first round, pick 32. So they could definitely do that. I wouldn't put it past Seattle, but I think they probably would. What else are they missing, spread? I'm trying to think with Seattle. What else would they target in the first round?
Wide receiver or just backup depth on the line. I mean, anything else, it's just depth. I mean, they're really like in a position to go best player available.
Yeah. Yeah. So
hopefully they were smalling off the line of scrimmage, right?
Yeah. Hopefully
they didn't have all these huge free agency departures.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that's not a running back. So our running backs, we will be covered pretty well. And even when Charbonnet comes back, whichever one of those guys, wins the work, he's going to be, probably in a 50-50 split.
Mm-hmm.
So then we got Keaton Mitchell at the Chargers. I love that.
And we should split with the guy that's going to get the goal line carries.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Charbonnet will take that more aggressive role, and then they'll bring in a goal line back.
Yeah. I'm always a fan, by the way. If you can get like these running backs late, I don't mind grabbing two guys from the same team at all. Like, I know it's frowned upon, like by the by the community or whatever, but like that's a great move when you can get, like an entire backfield in the late round and not take any chance. Like, who gives a shit? Like, who wins the job? I got like the starter and the backup in that situation. And like I said, when Charbonnet comes back, one of those guys is going to have a significant role on the offense at least. So we got Keaton Mitchell with the Chargers. I like that landing spot. We're taking a swing on Katron Allen, hoping that he lands on a decent spot. And then we got Najee Harris. So we're taking another swing on Najee Harris. This is the thing, like when we're drafting this early on in the process, like Najee could easily land somewhere where they're in need of his services, and he shoots up from like a 214 to like 120 or something like that. What did he have? Was he an Achilles
for
Najee Harris?
It was an eye.
Was it an eye?
Yes, he blew up his eye or something in fireworks.
I think that wasn't. No, he had a Achilles injury after the eye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do remember the eye injury. But yeah, the Achilles has me a little bit nervous. But like we took him at pick 217, so there's not a ton of risk there. But like if he comes through for us, we saw Cam Akers was the most successful guy coming back from an Achilles tear, and he did pretty well on his return. Would have paid off a 217 ADP, I'd say. Wide receivers were pretty stacked. We got Nico Collins, we got Devontae Adams, Alec Pierce, huge contract for him. I don't know if it was worth the contract, but we'll find out. Cortland Sutton, Michael Pittman, Isaac Tesla, and Tyreek Hill. So we're taking some swings on these injury guys. We got Tyreek and Najee. If Spread and I had been a little bit more comfortable in the draft or familiar with the drafting, we might have gone different directions for those guys. We probably would have set ourselves up better, but we're still getting a feel for the ADP and like team building here. And then we got Brock Bowers.
You know, it's funny. I don't know if our draft is good, but I think it makes for better content for the people.
Yeah,
watching.
Exactly. At least we got to talk through these guys and stuff like that. So, like the draft, first draft is always a throwaway, but like once you get into it and once you start getting an idea of the flow, like if we look at let's look at Davis real quick. 'Cause we know that he's probably been drafting nonstop, so we can at least get the perspective of somebody who's familiar with ADP. So with Davis, we got Caleb Williams, Tyler Shuck, and Ty Simpson as his quarterbacks. What do you think of that Ty Simpson play there, Spread?
I don't like Ty Simpson at all.
Yeah. So running backs, we got Josh Jacobs, Bajal Tootin, Tony Pollard. We talked about him. Jonah Coleman. He went with a similar route because he's loaded up on these running backs. He went with Alvin Kamara.
I like it. I don't know how
yeah.
Kamara fell so far.
Yeah, we were going to pick up Kamara. We ended up auto drafting Tyreek in that spot.
Yeah.
And then he went LeQuint.
But it's the same thing. It's just a flyer on a veteran in an
exactly.
situation.
Yep, exactly. So we were literally like waffling between Kamara and Tyreek in that spot anyway. So we'll see who was right in that one between us and Davis. We got JSN, Luther Burden, Michael Wilson. Looks like a zero RB type of build. We got Jordan Addison. So he's kind of thinking the same thing that I'm thinking with maybe some of these running backs are a little bit overblown. Debo Samuel, Devon Vele. And then for tight end, he ends up with Trey McBride, Juwan Johnson, and Eli Stowers. Any thoughts on that build, Spread?
I mean, if you're going to do the hero tight end, that's what you do, right? You draft a tight end that early. I mean, you just get
Yeah.
The closest you do a commitment you're going to get in best ball.
Yep.
Drafting an early tight end, you're gonna roll with them. Yeah,
and I like the correlation there. Like Shuck with Kamara. It looks like he backdoored himself a New Orleans stack.
That's one thing that he probably did better than us was correlate with his late round picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Good ADP value at the beginning. That's probably the difference between being a little more practiced. But I don't know, man. In my experience, man, trying to correlate ahead of your player takes, like I'm fine with correlation if it's a tiebreaker, but sometimes I think that, like, we get away from our player takes and we get away from the players we like just in the mad hunt to correlate.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I've traditionally not been supercharged with correlation, and I think it has bit me in the ass before, but like I kind of I'm with Spread with the, like you want to get your guys, like for a lot of these, you want to have, like your convictions and, try to get the guys that you want so that, you don't want to have a correlation tie break over one of your convictions, But,
yeah, and that's the other thing. And I know that they'll come out, right? Especially like Davis that we're drafting out against, well, studies show, and just my counter argument would be sample size is unreasonably small.
Yeah. And
those studies were also created from data for the first 2 to 3 years where people weren't even talking about correlation unless you were really, really in this niche best ball community.
Yeah.
It's almost like, Doyle Brunson saying, oh, yeah, I won all those poker tournaments. He goes, I wouldn't do that now. He goes, it was a smaller field and the people didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
He goes, now there's so many more people doing the sharp thing. So that's why I think it's almost like the secret's out the bag, right? Like I'm trying to think of an NBA trend that, game 3 unders or game 3, take the home team, right? Everybody knows about it now, right? Like the edge is gone. You know, before it'd be like, oh, I'm getting +3 at home, and in game 3, like now they're like -4. You know, like the sports book completely adjusted. You know, so I'm all in favor of correlation as a tiebreaker, but I'm not going to take a player that I don't love over a player I love just because he correlates. Yeah. But with the late round picks, that's exactly what you should be doing, and that's what we're going to do on our very next stream.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll do another one of these soon. We'll do one before. We'll try to get one out before the draft. Do a little analysis on the picks, or do you want to do one after the draft spread? Do you prefer to do it before or
both?
After?
I say we keep knocking these out.
Okay. So, yeah. Cool,
I mean, at its core, you know, what we're doing at Heat Seeker and what we're doing at Sports Nuggets is NFL content.
Yeah.
Know? I think the majority of us, majority of the people watching or listening that checking out our content, even if they're following the NBA or they're following the baseball or the tennis or the UFC or the golf,
right?
I think you know what brought them here was the NFL. So I think we should keep feeding people the NFL. It's just king. I have more people talking about NFL work right now than March Madness.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, just when I'm talking to normal sports fans that don't gamble and don't play DFS, right? They just turn on the game and watch it at night after work.
That's we're talking
about NFL.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the NFL, man. It's like it's year round. You know, we got free agents signings like that. Like there's always something coming up. Like the deadline for free agent signings is coming up.
And the season is so short that you're allowed to create memories.
Right, exactly. You know,
so who remembers an NBA regular season game? Oh, do you remember that? You know, it's like we still talk about, oh, Isaiah Likely toe out, right? I mean, all these regular season games, right, that we talk about.
Yep. I mean, Spread and I will talk about the Andy Dalton showdown pick that Spread made like from 3 years ago that like ended up going off, and him and Thielen like being a stack together that ended up going off, and it was just like we were the only ones that were talking about it. Like that was great. Like that's what I love about NFL though, man. When you have a good take on something, you put your take out there and then it hits and it like ends up being like a ridiculous return on it. And you know, it's just memorable, you know?
Yeah. I think that's the fun thing about DFS or best ball is like, you know, in betting, you get the take right. And you usually just, you know, double your money or whatever. You can really get the big scores here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, help us, you know, get some growth on this channel. Subscribe over on YouTube and on sportnuggets.com. Sign up for our premium over on sportnuggets.com as well. But if you just want to track news, you can do that for free over on sportnuggets.com. The premium is where you're going to get our picks, where you're going to get our insights. And, you know, like I said, Spread's doing them for NBA. He's doing core plays for DFS lineups for NBA, tennis, you know, college basketball. He's had a lot of input in there. And then, you know, we have our other contributors. Charlie Wright just joined us. He's a contributor over at Scores and Odds, I believe, as well. And he's helping us out with some core plays in our premium Discord as well, and writing some articles or MLB. And then we got Sick Hemi, who's covering, you know, basically all the sports, and then doing all the ancillary sports on top of it, like NASCAR, MMA, golf, stuff like that. You get core plays from him over in the premium Discord. So make sure to check that out. And Spread, where can they find you apart from Sport Nuggets?
Yeah, sportsnuggets.com, and of course at Spread Astaire on Twitter /X, whatever it's called now.
Good stuff. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.